Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Louis, and we're back for another episode of the chat room. It's great to be back. I'm refreshed. I've been on holiday, went to lovely Cyprus for a couple of weeks. We're back, we're ready to get into the new season. Just 6 days, well, less than that, 5 days until Liverpool back in action. 12:30 kickoff, getting football underway on the Saturday. The first kickoff on the Saturday against Fulham at home. 12:30 kickoff. We'll be here for a live watch along for that. 5 days to go. It's been a while, isn't it? It's been a long time coming. The way that last season ended left us, well, knackered and I guess wanting a bit of a break, but also desperate for more because we were so close to something so massive. So we'll see what we can do this year, won't we? And we'll get into that. Plenty to get through today. Also, got this bad boy. Came through the post today, so looking forward to reading that. And who knows, we might have our very first book review on the LFC Transfer Room. I'm massively looking forward to it. Pep Lijnders obviously a very articulate guy and a massive part of this team as a whole. Klopp's right-hand man, so it should have some pretty juicy content in it, and I can't wait to get into it actually. But as I said, for this show, the chat room, which is by the viewers for the viewers, let's get into it. Plenty to get through. Some injuries mounting slightly, maybe blown out of proportion a little bit, not as bad as first thought. We'll get into that. Darwin Nunez, of course, hitting the ground running. What is this season got in store for Darwin Nunez? And Erling Haaland, his opposite number, ultimately probably our biggest rival in terms of the title this year. Thank you to everybody who is just joining now. As you should all probably know by this point, this is the chat room. This is by the viewers for the viewers. So please do get your questions, comments, anything you want in the live chat, and we can have a lovely conversation about it. I do believe it's a subscriber-only chat, so if you're not subscribed, you found yourself here, welcome. Please do consider pressing that subscribe button as well as the like button as well. It massively helps us out, and you can get involved in the live chat so that you can be involved in this lovely conversation and this lovely community, if I do say so myself, that we've got. Hello, Josh. Yep, probably doesn't show on camera, but, well, my arms are tanned, but my face probably not where I'd want it to be, if I'm being real. Is the book available on audio? I don't actually know. I think the best place to check that would probably be on the Liverpool website, or if you've got any Audible, if you've got Audible or any of those ebook sites. So I've listened to a couple of ebooks in my time, but couldn't really get into it, I'm being honest with you. We need Jude, says Jen. Yeah, probably, most likely, but it doesn't look like we're going to get him, does it? So we might have to chill out on that one slightly. If you are just joining, please do get involved, and please do feel free to share this video about, because the more people in the chat room, the better and more productive it is, I feel like. You don't always just want to listen to me talk about what I want to talk about for half an hour, 40 minutes. We can talk about what you want to talk about for a little bit. So we'll get in to that. First of all, if you weren't on the watch along, massive congratulations to the England women who won the Euro 2022 competition. How incredible is that? When Germany equalised, I've got to tell you, I thought it was same old England. We're going to bottle it again. Very similar pattern to the men's Euros final. But not to be. We held out and we did it. They did enough, and they've got over the line. I'm just a bit gutted that there's no bank holiday. That's what they were all talking about for the men's competition. But, you know, women go and do what the men couldn't do for, nearly 60 years. No bank holiday. Very strange. Very, very strange indeed. Owen, good to see you on your Football Heritage site. Hope you are doing well, and looking forward to having you on plenty of times this week and in the future, of course. Now, I've dilly-dallied enough. I've managed to just chat shit for 5 minutes straight. Let's get into the topic of conversation. Now, let's start off with the injuries. So, of course, Naby Keita is just down ill, so he's all good. Curtis Jones came out on the Liverpool website as feeling something in the pre-match warm-up or in one of the warm-ups before the game against Strasbourg. And people were a little bit worried about that one. And, of course, Konate, who was played in the Strasbourg game, the 3-0 defeat yesterday, which a lot of us in the chat endured painfully. He went down with something. Nobody was quite sure. It looked like it could be a bit nasty. It was a bit of like a knee extension, the knee being bent the wrong way in a challenge. Nothing cynical about it, but just one of those things. And with our history of centre-backs and injuries, it's better to be, well, it's better to err on the side of caution and be a bit scared, isn't it? Because knowing our luck, that could have easily been his season, couldn't it? But Klopp, whilst they're not 100% sure about it, thinks it should be okay. He thinks it should be okay. On it, he said, we don't know exactly yet on Ibu, but it doesn't look too concerning, so I hope we caught it in the right moment. Now, they haven't come to a full diagnosis, obviously, but they tend to be pretty decent with like, well, it ain't looking good. They can make a pretty like thorough analysis within, a couple of hours of the game ending before a proper diagnosis is given. But they've judged that it's probably not as bad as first thought. Might just be a slight extension. I'm not a medical staff, so I don't know why I'm trying to talk like I know what I'm on about. But it could be anything. Klopp seems to think it's not too bad. So that's a massive positive for me, because when he went off, I was thinking a lot of people weren't too keen about having this friendly the day after the Community Shield, although I don't really understand why, because it was two different teams. So what's the issue? It was getting minutes into everybody, including those who weren't able to play in the Community Shield game. So I think it made total sense. But a lot of people weren't happy, and Konate getting injured and having to go off, that would have rattled some people. And if he was out for more than a week or two, those people would have been absolutely fuming. So all I can say is I'm a little bit relieved anyway that he's not injured, but for the sake of my sanity on the world of Twitter and the world of social media, I'm very happy that it seems he's okay. As I said, Naby Keita's just ill. He should be... according to Jurgen Klopp, he won't be available for Fulham by the looks of it. So he's quite ill, considering how long it is until the Fulham game. Curtis Jones, however, we have to see, says Klopp. There was no impact or whatever, so that always makes it a bit, my God, what could it be? We had no time. He felt it today and he wanted to play desperately, but then the medical department said no and that we needed to make further tests. We will do that tomorrow and then we will know more. So we've got to sweat on Curtis Jones a little bit, but I guess that depends on how much you rate him. This, of course, brings up that age-old debate this summer, which is, do we need to go out and sign another midfielder? Which for a lot of people was yes anyway. It seems that the noises from the club were, well, we've got so many midfielders anyway, and we can always keep Tyler Morton, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's going to have a redemption. Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are going to grow into it. Well, Tyler Morton is now on loan. That's confirmed. He's gone to Blackburn, which seems to be a bit of a flourishing relationship with Harvey Elliott going there a couple of years ago, and now Tyler Morton following in his footsteps. And if he can keep on following the same path, that would be pretty decent, wouldn't it? Oxlade-Chamberlain, of course, injured now. Not great, and that seems like that could be a bit of a long one. It is the hamstring. Naby Keita ill. That's fine. And now Curtis Jones has picked up something, and they're not 100% sure what it is. So you can imagine a lot of people not very happy, and I think some people will be in the live chat as well. Anthony says Jones not exactly a huge miss, but 2 midfielder injuries, Morton loaned out, and no signings. It even me, the most positive of people, it does start to raise some eyebrows. I'm not panicked yet. I'm not worried particularly, but it's getting to that point, isn't it? I mean, now we really are like one big injury away from a a bit of a midfielder crisis, aren't we? I mean, especially that the big two. If Fabinho or Thiago pick up something, that could haunt us pretty quickly if we don't get anybody in. But personally, I don't think we will get anybody in regardless. If I know we've got another month to do business, unless it doesn't end midway through August, does it? It ends at the end of August. The transfer window, I mean. If one of the big two goes down with a proper injury, then maybe we do go out and spend money. It's still not Bellingham. It would be like a Sangar. Barella I can't see moving because like Inter Milan aren't poor, and it would be too far into the start of the season, wouldn't it? Like they wouldn't have time to necessarily replace him or work out what they're going to do with that one. Now that Morton is out and Matthias Nunez or Sangar signing is a must this summer. But it's just very quiet on that front, isn't it? Like there's no indication of any movement whatsoever by Klopp, by the club, by the recruitment staff. I've barely heard a single rumour coming out. Like it got to the stage where the Bellingham stuff got so boring because it was so obvious we weren't going to sign him that things like, Nat Phillips is going to be Joel Matip's replacement, Oxlade-Chamberlain's going to, build himself back up this year. Bloody Ben Foster's going to be our third choice keeper. The rumours just got desperate, and now that they've just gone quiet because there is truly nothing coming out of the club. They're very well sealed. Does that indicate a surprise coming out of the woodworks? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. It's not our style to do it this late. And how could you keep that secret? Everybody knows that if we need anything, we need a midfielder. So if we don't hear anything in this next week before the Fulham game, I wouldn't expect any new signings at all. Let me just go back through the live chat because there are people getting involved, which is great to see. Please do get involved if you haven't done so already by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and getting into the live chat. This is the chat room. This is by the viewers for the viewers. So get your questions and thoughts in, and we will talk about them. For anybody who joined, I showed it at the beginning, but bought this bad boy. I think I might review it if I manage to get through it fairly quickly. It should be a great read. Fabio, good to see you. Says too many injuries for a start to the season. I think there are 10 players injured. I think that's an exaggeration, isn't it? It's Oxlade-Chamberlain, Calvin Ramsey, Curtis Jones, Canate, Jota. So maybe 5 or 6. We're definitely not 10. That's ridiculous. Good evening, Oluwu. Hope you're doing well. When does the transfer window close? Well, that's what I was just wondering. I'm sure it's the end of the month. It's not like midway through, is it? Let me have a look. Yeah, it closes on September the 1st, 2022. So the end of this month, it slams shut. On to Chicken Cottage this weekend. Huh? That's the shop. What is your opinion on Bajcetic's free kick yesterday? Well, I mean, it's all right, isn't it? But that's not. I don't think that's a sign of, someone's. I mean, it didn't go in anyway, for starters, and it's not exactly a sign that he's going to be great in this team, is he? I mean, he's done well. He's impressed, but I don't think it's going to do anything. I've just forgotten something. Basically, our good friend on the channel, James Dean, has created a Google document where you will go through a list and you will decide who you think will win the Premier League, who will come top 4, who will be relegated, who will be, signing of the summer, signing of the season, player of the season, young player of the season, most goals, first manager to be sacked, etc. Like, there's plenty of topics on there, and I'm going to add it to the description of this video so that you guys can get involved in that, because we want to kind of get everybody, as many people as possible, doing that, and then we'll pull the data, and as the season progresses we can take a look at what everybody's predicted and see how right or wrong some of you are with your predictions. So I'm just trying to do that on the fly now, so apologies if I'm not actually really talking about anything. But I'll get the link for this. It's open to everybody, so whether you've been here for ages or this is your first time watching the channel, welcome. But you can enter this form and fill it out. Nearly there. Please do like the video as well and subscribe to the channel. Should we have brought back Genie on loan? I don't think so. It's not a good look, is it, when a player has done that badly? I mean, maybe it's not a representation of his ability. Maybe he has still got it in the tank, but you just shouldn't really go back to those kind of things, should you? Okay, I'm just going to put my microphone down. Hang on. Get your Premier League predictions in here. Why hasn't that worked? Yes. Right. So that's now saving, right? So apologies for that. If you all go to the description of this video, either now or at the end, after the initial introduction to the video, the very next link says get your Premier League predictions in here. Press on that link. It'll take you to a Google document and you can fill in all the categories that James has made. Get your predictions in for the season. We will, of course, have our Premier League predictions in full on Thursday night. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. So make sure you are definitely around for that. Klopp said, and I quote, "If we get several injuries, we will have to get people." Yeah, that was his one condition, wasn't it? And you kind of think he was hoping, he was praying on us not getting any injuries. I'd love to see someone like mention that. I hate to see him put on the spot or anything. God, I look like a tomato there. I'd hate for him to be put on the spot, but I'd love someone to go back to him in the next press conference and say, like, well, you've got injuries to so-and-so and so-and-so in the midfield. Are you now on the verge of looking to sign somebody? But I think his response will probably be, well, most of them are short-term. Oxlade-Chamberlain's the only one that's slightly long-term, but we don't know exactly how long. But Curtis Jones will be back very soon. And it's not massive. Anyone think that Morton going on loan opens the door for a signing? I don't think Tyler Morton going out on loan means we bring in a Sangar or a Barella or a Nunez. I don't know. Maybe I'm being cynical, but I don't know. I'm really not sure on that one at all, guys. Should we have brought Genie back? No, I've done that one already. Gary Louis, can Starwin score 30 goals this season? I don't think... Well, on one of those categories on the link in the video description, Premier League predictions, is top goal scorer. And I didn't put Darwin Nunez there. I think he's going to do very, very well. I think he is going to be a big part and he is going to be another great addition in our Arsenal for selection. I think Mo Salah's still going to be banging them in. Jota when he's fit, and hopefully Diaz can start chipping in a bit more regularly with goals and assists as well. But I don't think Darwin Nunez is getting 30 goals this season. I think 15 to 20 would be like damn good for your first season. I know Mo Salah obviously went and did something ridiculous like 40, didn't he, in all competitions. But I don't know. I don't think he has to get 30 for it to be a brilliant season for him, you know. Do you think Morton going out on loan that we'll see Stefan Bajcetic get game time, especially with the 5 subs? Well, thank you for reminding me about the 5 subs, Charlie, because that does make it a little bit more interesting. One of the categories, again, and I'm going to keep going back to it, on the link for Premier League predictions is which academy player do you think is going to break into the first team this season? And I put nobody. I just don't have a good feeling this year about the academy guys doing or having the freedom to break into that team. We know towards the back end of the season things get hyper-focused on whatever tournaments we're still in. We're very close to the title. We're still in the Champions League. Any appearances for, the likes of Tyler Morton get phased out. Even the likes of Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott struggle to make starts. I think this is such a big season. We've got Darwin Nunez obviously bedding in. Carvalho's there. Elliott's back. Curtis Jones still highly rated by everybody at the club. The defence is set, and there's enough there that you have to rotate them before you can even think about signing anybody, and the attack picks itself. I think as Oluwu says, you'll see some of them. You'll see Cade Gordon make an appearance in the third round of the FA Cup. You'll see Mushawowski on the bench in the Carabao. You'll see Bajcetic in the Carabao as well. I'm not 100% sure we're going to do as well in the domestic cups this year, and I think that could shorten the amount of game time they could get. Or the other extreme of that is that he wants to go all out and win them, and we've got maybe enough depth in most positions where you can rotate without having to call upon youth players like that. Bajcetic, I think, has really impressed, but let's all be honest with ourselves. Unless you were tapped into the academy before, you didn't know who Bajcetic was, really, did you? Like we knew who Cade Gordon was. We've heard Mushawowski and how highly rated he is. Bajcetic has come from nowhere. But number 6, where he's impressed, is not his out-and-out position. He's recently moved there from a centre-back. Can you really thrust somebody like that into the Premier League? Maybe you can make that argument, because we did do something similar with Tyler Morton. But it's an interesting one. I think breaking into the team is probably just the wrong terminology. I think they'll get minutes, they'll get some bench appearances, and they'll get a bit of time on the field. But none of them are going to, this year at least, be able to actually seriously stake a claim that they should be around the first team at all times, if that makes sense. So, no. Maybe game time, as you've said, but definitely not breaking into the team as is on that Premier League predictor. How long is Jones out for? Not 100% sorted, actually. Not decided. I mean, they don't know. They don't know the full extent of the injury at this point. Again, I'll read the quotes out. Where is it? Curtis, we have to see. There was no impact, so that always makes it a bit, my God, what could it be? We had no time. He felt it today, and he wanted to play desperately. But then the medical department said no, and that we needed to make further tests. We will do that tomorrow, and then we will know more. Anissa says it's about them breaking into the squad rather than the first team. Yeah. But I still think they struggle to probably do that. They'll always end up going back to the under 18s, the under 20s, whoever it is. We have to have positive thoughts that the quad can still be on as the season goes on. I mean, yeah, until we're knocked out of any of those competitions, it's obviously still on. I just feel now that Klopp has, silenced the doubters about not taking the domestic cup seriously, he might just use that one or two extra young player or fringe player in those opening rounds, and it could just cost us. And it's not a massive. I'm not really that. I'll be gutted if we lose a game, but I'm not really that arsed if we don't win the Carabao Cup this year. Maybe the FA Cup would be good to win again, but it's all about the big two, isn't it? What's happening with Ramsey? Well, still injured as far as I know. If you've got any other information. Louis, how many goals do you think Bobby will get this season, and do you think he will get a new deal? Does his deal expire at the end of this year? I think they want to get him on a lifetime contract, don't they? They want to keep him till he retires. I don't care about anything except the Prem. I think we should really go for the league and the Champions League as well. I'm not letting that slide. And every time under Klopp we've got to the Champions League final and lost, the following year we've gone on and won it. So it's happening. Number 7's coming this year. I'm calling it first. Did Conor Bradley go out on loan? Yes, he did. He's at Bolton, I want to say. That's very silly of me to forget. But he is at Bolton. Let's just have a quick look ahead to the week coming. Fulham Liverpool versus Fulham, the first match day of the Premier League 22-23 season, sees Fulham travel up to Anfield to face us at home, which is a good way to start. It should be comfortable. It should be comfortable, shouldn't it? I'd love to see Darwin Nunez start. I think it's really important for him to get a fast start, but I could easily see it being Bobby Firmino, and I think it probably will be. And I'm not mad about that at all. You know, he offers us something very key that not many other players can, even if some of us don't want to see it because he doesn't contribute as many goals and assists as some would like. But on Darwin Nunez, first of all, wow for his appearance in the Community Shield, one of the best debuts. You know, winning a penalty and then scoring the clinical winning goal is no mean feat from a 30-minute cameo, and really changed the game in our favour, I believe. I think it's massive for him to have gotten that goal, and you could see the relief on his face, similar to when he got that hat-trick, the 4 goals against Leipzig. You could tell he's definitely seen everything surrounding him on social media. Bless him. Like, I feel so bad for him. But he's answered it emphatically, hasn't he? 4 goals against Leipzig, which I would have said is no mean feat, but they were crap against Bayern Munich. And the winning goal against Man City, who played a very strong starting 11 and are at the same stage as us in pre-season pretty much. They've played less games, but you know, they've been training. That's how he likes to do it. That's not our problem. So I think that's a pretty decent gauge. As the season goes on, obviously both teams will start to change and develop slightly, and he'll just grow into it more and more. So I just think, again, he just has to keep on with this fast start. The goal against Man City, brilliant. Get your Premier League numbers off to a good start straight away. Fulham, I hate to straight away be dismissing them, but we all know that it's a game we have to win, which sounds stupid at the very beginning of the season. It's a must-win game, obviously. We cannot draw to Fulham. We cannot lose to Fulham at home, with them being the newly promoted side. Then, at this point, how can they even... They're not even going to have a promotion bounce, are they? Because they go up and down like a yo-yo. It's like Norwich. They still lose their first games of the season, and they don't really do that well in the opening stages anyway, when you would expect them to. Nottingham Forest will be a challenge. They'll be a genuine challenge because they will be so up for it. And this will be the first time any of those players have played at a stadium like Liverpool, in the Premier League at least. I know they played us in the Cup and they played Man United, etc. But to play in the Premier League is massive for a lot of those players. It could be the first, and it could be the last for some of them as well. They will be much more of a challenge, I'm anticipating, than Fulham should be. I think Fulham can stay up still, and I think that's what I've predicted on that form. Go and check it out. But we should be beating them, without question. I think you could ask any Fulham fan that. We should be beating them. Does that mean we should take them lightly? Of course not. They're 2 very different things, aren't they? So for me, I would start Darwin Nunez. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Firmino gets the nod and he'll do absolutely fine. Anthony says Thiago's going to boss the Fulham match. You'd think so, wouldn't you? Your thoughts on this year's refereeing? Martin Atkinson, John Moss, Kevin Friend and Mike Dean all retired. Who was the worst referee? I know people don't like Mike Dean. I just thought he was quite funny. Martin Atkinson, dreadful. Kevin Friend, not much better. John Moss, just a bit old. It's hard to pick who's the worst because they're just not very good, are they? There's like 1 or 2. It's that Michael Oliver, he's pretty decent, but you know, they can all have bad days as well, can't they? So you just... I do always find that quite funny. Like, whenever there's a referee at a Liverpool game, it's like 5 minutes in, it's like, oh, this referee's shit. And it's like, which referee isn't? Which referees in a Liverpool game? And we actually turn around and say, God, that was a bloody good performance from him, I thought. He's going to give a shit ton of things against us. He's going to give a lot of things for us that shouldn't be for us. We're not going to notice that as much. And it's going to be the exact same for the opposing team as well. Like, I never get that fussed about referee selection, if I'm being honest with you. Although I guess VAR choices are a little bit more important because VAR has such a big impact on the game nowadays. Paul Tierney needs to retire next. I think just chuck them all out. And we don't have to get. I don't know why they have to be UK. Just get some from the continent who are at least consistent, even if they do give all the really sissy fouls. At least they're consistent in their approach to the game, and it makes a bit more sense, and they know how they want the game to flow. Everyone should say their predicted lineup against Fulham in the chat. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that. It'll be a preview on Friday for the Fulham game, so I'm sure we'll discuss starting 11s, etc. But I think that's probably a good place to wind it up, actually. A fairly short chat room, considering some of the past episodes going at over an hour, but it's still a little bit hot in here, so I'm not overly comfortable sitting in front of my screen for too long. And I think we've got so much content for you this week. It's going to be good fun, so I don't want to spoil too much of it. We've got Premier League predictions throughout this week, preview on Friday, the first Premier League watch-along on Saturday, and post-match reaction following it as well. Football is back. The chat room is back. I'm back. Well, for a little bit anyway. I'm going on holiday again in another week. The Premier League is back, so I'm excited to get into it. The countdown's well and truly on. About 5 days left until we face Fulham. 12:30 kickoff. We'll be here on Saturday live from 12 for build-up and the live watch-along, but we're here every night up until then, live from 7:30. So please do join us. Please like the video if you haven't done so already. It really does help us out, I promise you. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Lets you get involved in the live chat and you become part of a lovely Liverpool community. And as I said, go to the description of this video. The first link you'll come to is a Premier League prediction form. Go on it, fill it out. It'll be a great laugh to look back on it as the season goes on, and we can see who's put who where. If there's any surprising, predictions for top four or relegation or first manager sacked, etc., we'll have a good laugh about it. So please do get that signed in if you would like to. Jen says, I thought Man City was so poor on Saturday and Haaland missing that sitter was magic. I mean, you couldn't have written it much better, could you? Darwin Nunez getting the winner and then Erling Haaland missing from about 6 yards out. It's quite incredible. And that's a great memory to end this show on. So thank you very much to everybody for watching. Please like, please subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow in the next stream. Take care and have a lovely Monday evening. Take care, guys.